and we want to continue all the good work we're doing. We're getting so many quality feedbacks as to how this is changing your life, how you're just adjusting, not drinking as much coffee even. And this show is all for you, and I'm hoping by you. So chat's open. We'd love to follow the trail of relevant now thoughts. And I want to introduce Sarah before I get off on talking or anything else. So Sarah, it's been a little while. I'm so happy you're here. We had a previous conversation before going live that was really eye-opening and thought-provoking and worthwhile. So share a little bit of yourself for those who don't know you, and a little bit of what you think about what this show is turning into.
For those that don't know me, I'm Sarah Dawkins. I was a registered nurse for 20 years, and I'm now a holistic health coach after naturally healing a whole host of health problems for myself, writing a book about it called Heal Yourself. And our conversation earlier with Don was about how do we get knowledge about services and people and products out to the wider audience. It's one thing having a fabulous product or service, but if nobody knows about it, how can we share that? And LinkedIn is one platform, and doing these lives with all the people that Don has on can help share that message. And then the people listening can go on and further share the message. But what other ways can we use to get that message out that these products, these services, these people are there waiting for other people? How can we share that? Hi, Don. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Chastity. Hi, Dee.
Then that's the key is make friends first. Become neighbors first. Become better at that. Too many people, they rush to the end and they didn't enjoy the beginning or the middle, and the end didn't turn out very well anyways. And the key is to allow yourself to grow with growth, not being the leader. Not, I like being one of 50, not 1 to 49, because it takes the pressure off. Plus you learn so much more. Anybody that is telling instead of asking, is making a supreme mistake. What do you think, Sarah?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When we share, we should share the part of us that benefits others. I mean, I had somebody connect with me this morning on LinkedIn, and their welcome email is, "This is who I am and this is what I do, and I can't wait to work with you." I don't even know who you are. Let's share. Let's have some conversation. Let's see what we're all about. Let's see if there's a match with each other, because not everybody can work with everybody. And then we can look at what we can share and how we can share it. And people like to see that other people understand. And the way that we can show that we understand is by sharing what we're doing and our own experiences and the outcomes of those experiences and what we've learned, and share that part of our story so that people can see, oh, well, they've been through this and they use these coping skills, or they use these strategies, and that really helps, or that didn't help. They've tried that and that didn't help. But that is the way that we can help people, through our own experiences. I mean, we are all different, and what works for one might not work for another, but it's about opening up your options. What options are there to the problem that you've got? Who has come across this problem and how was it solved? At least you've got starting points, and from there it can grow organically or iteratively. But it will grow, but you need a starting point.
Well, that's so true. And that's why I like having Sarah on the show, because you do get truth, and the whole truth is better than a better truth that's only half a truth from the person giving it. And I think what comes out of it is people qualify themselves in and out of your life based on can they. And the reason why people don't have a lot of conversations is either they don't know how to or they don't want to, right? And if you say, where's the fire, right? Why can't we sit and talk for a minute?
Yeah.
right? And can we do that? And if the answer is no, or after something that's less important, there's 900 million people alone on LinkedIn. Why wait for anybody? Because time's not waiting for you. And the thing is too many people are used to fixing what they know wasn't right when they picked it up, right? And another block away was a brand new, just like they wanted. But, you know, that's the key, is having people who are next to you saying, hey, do you know you're picking something up that you could have in a block? Hey, we'll walk together, right? It's not giving up on yourself. That's so important. What's your thoughts, Sarah?
Absolutely, yes, and like I said earlier, you know, we're not a fit for everybody that wants to work with us, or we've not come across the problems that somebody else might be having. And for a lot of my work, I've found myself as a signpost. You know, people will come to me with a problem, and I can help them in so far down the line. But then I'll say, well, you know, I can't help you past that. I need to send you to there, or did you know this service was available, or did you know this person can do that? So, you know, I will help to the best of my ability, but then I will signpost people on. And I think sometimes we can get stuck in that I must solve this problem. And yet, there's, like you said, there's all those people out there we can share. It's about collaboration over competition. You know, because you can look at the market and go, it's quite cutthroat. But actually, it's not. There's plenty for everybody. So let's share the job, the work, the people, because we might not be the best fit for that person, or we might not be able to solve all of their problems. So point them to other people if you know. There's no harm in that. And that shows honesty and trust and likability, that you can say, well, you know, this person helped me this far, but then they said they couldn't do that, or they didn't know that, and they passed me on to somebody else. So we can do that. It's all about collaboration. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And what it really comes down to is action, is taking action against anything, towards anything, will get you out of where you are. And if where you are is telling you you're not happy, you're having bad thoughts, you know, the world is changing, the first thing you can do is get up and start walking, right? Start breathing, you know, do something that turns you on, you know, have a piece of dessert that maybe you felt guilty about yesterday, and you say, if I'm going to do something impulsive, let me eat a cake, you know, if that's what it's going to mean, because it's always best to what you have, not ultimate to what you want. And I think when people have people who can slow them down and say patience over impulse, or fear, or all these other things. But let me just take a moment, because we got some great people. I want to first start with Christine. Oh yes, there is a rush at altar, rush to close the sale where I am. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, so right. But I want to also take this time to applaud Christine. She was our co-host for the first time yesterday with Ambreen, and it was just a miraculous session. I've watched it again like 1.5 times, and it just was like such a wonderful catharsis, right? An opening, an expansion, a sharing. And I mean, it got tremendous numbers, but more importantly, we put out legacy content yesterday that will continue to shine and filter. And like me and Sarah were talking about, I want this to be a movement, not our movement, but the movement of the message. And we can do it because of decentralization, just like blockchain. It's peer-to-peer, you know, and there's people who want to help people, and people need that help. And if we can have a network that says something that before you do this, I'm always available, right? And there would be tens of thousands of people, and just knowing that the person on the other side welcomes you. But I'm getting away from what I intended to do. And it's so easy here. Ann Bimbola is here every day. She's from Nigeria. She even had her mother on with her last week. She is growing and changing with the conversation, because most people hold things in because they know what the response will be if they let it out to the people around them. But if you had the opposite culture and environment where people are saying, that's brave, that's courageous, that's beautiful, and you hear it every day, that is going to make a mindset switch. Andrea, we can't talk enough about Andrea. It's Andrea and Sarah are good friends. They work in the same areas pretty much. And they also share the same really lovely, sparkling personality. And only through a LinkedIn Live can you actually see it. Because on paper, everybody's the same or worse, because there is no prejudice when there's a visual truth in front of you, right? It is what it is. So anyways, Andrea, can't wait to have you back on the show. I know you've been dealing with some stuff, but glad to have you. Moving up, Paul is here whenever he can. Thank you, Paul. Kelly is like the backbone of this whole thing. I mean, she takes so much interest and brings so much value. And where do you find like 20 best friends in 4 weeks or 2 months, right? That they all are sparkling people, and they're new, no old stories, no old experiences, no old when I was at relationships, to like, wow, there's so many, and they're here all the time, and more are coming, because the message is resonating. So thank you, Kelly. Chastity, who's a good friend of Gretchen, who's here almost every Monday and help launch this thing. Thank you for coming. Dean, always bringing his potato. Great guy, shows up almost every day. And you know what it is everybody is valued as a person first, right? Everybody has greatness within them. Everybody has beauty all around them. It just takes the right light to show it to them, right? What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely, Don. Just we're here supporting each other, and I hope that this group knows that we can say what's on our mind without being judged. And it's about understanding and having compassion and empathy with people. People will come out and say things, and for other people they would say, oh, I might not have said that, or I might not have worded it like that. But it's out there, so let's do what we can with what's been said. If some people might not like what's been said, but it's honesty. It's about honesty, and if we can just put something out there honestly, and look at it through compassion and unconditional love, and answer it in that way as well. It's about growing like that community, like you've said, to help support each other. And like, I forget the lady's name, sorry, from Nigeria that's just started coming. But if we can support people who might never have spoken out before, who might never have put a comment before, just to help them on their own journey. It's about help and supporting everybody, not just one or two people. We're here to help people. We're here to serve. And that's our role. For me as a coach, that's my role in this life. I'm here to serve and do whatever I can to help whoever I can to the best of my ability.
I think that's why you're here. And what it shows is you could win right from the beginning because of your giving. And then you could win again when things come right back to you, and they will. And what was so cool about yesterday, and I love being stuck on yesterday because it was so beautiful, those are the memories you want to take forward, not the things that keep you down. And Ambreen is in Saudi Arabia. She's got 104,000 connections. And even she said she doesn't care about the numbers. It's what she can give. And she's making a change that has no boundaries, and what's so cool, Christine even noted, look at how we can come together through thousands of miles, different cultures, but we're still people, we're still humans, we still feel. And I think people are realizing, hopefully through this show and any shows like this, because there's too much demand to think you want to hold people. What you want to do is open more doors for people and let them graduate and let them come back with their stories to help other people graduate. So it's all, no ceiling to start with. And what's so valuable is that when people finally realize they have so much potential for giving, that they have been suppressed, right? Or made to feel bad when they do it. Now's the chance to liberate, to unlock your own chains that you have the key to do and reinvent yourself. Just like if you're going to buy a custom home, you'd have everything like the backyard, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with yourself. Reinvent yourself and use us to help you. So let's get the comments. Oh, yeah. Okay. We got that. Andrea. Okay. Sorry. Well, you can see it on my profile. Every LinkedIn Live is there if you ever want to binge. And you know what I recommend? I watch them, but I fast forward through me because there's a lot of me all the time and I get to see more of them. And these are kind of like an hour. Here we go. Change without boundaries. Why not?
Yeah.
Sometimes the door's always been open and you never looked and you thought it was closed, right? And sometimes just moving a little bit around, you'll see things. Anne Breen has written a must-read book too. I'm so glad you know Anne Breen, Andrea. Me and Anne Breen were starting out together like 3 years ago, and she related to us tagging each other, supporting each other, and it just happened. It was so cool. I'll tell you real quick. I decided to tag her for the first time maybe a year, and I remembered her because someone else tagged her. So make a long story short, she came back, and she had watched this show already, and she loved it. And I said, okay, I was thinking about having you on as a guest. But I'd like to have a Zoom before, so And then I thought and she actually set up the Zoom call for midnight her time the next day. And then I thought for a minute, I said, well, hey, Ambreen, you're fine. You don't need a call. Let's just get you on the show. Right. And that's how it happened, Sari. So after the show, I told her how wonderful she was. And she said, we got to do more of this. This is what I'm into. Because people are looking for channels that they can tell their sincere message to that has a built-in audience of respect. So anyways, what do you think about all that, Sarah? Pretty exciting.
Yes, yeah. And one thing I wanted to say as well, when you talked about the opening the doors, show people the world, I like to hold my hand out and support people to walk through that door, guide them to walk through that door, help push them to walk through that door if they're fearful, whatever it takes. But not just open the door, but get that person moving towards that door and through that door. Some people are frightened to take action because they're in a freeze state, if you will, like fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And I see, if I can reach out and hold their hand on that journey, and they know that that they're being supported, the fact that that somebody's supporting you is quite a big relief to help you to take that action. If you think you're doing it on your own, you can be a little more reticent about it. But once you know you're supported, somebody's got your back, somebody's holding your hand, you can do it. And all it takes is that little bit of support. And like you say, if we show up, we're on video, people know we're here. They get to know who we are. They can see us. They can hear us. They can listen to what we're saying. And that is so important, because in a LinkedIn post, you can get a message over, but it doesn't always get the true essence of who you are. Whereas when you're on a live, you're here, you're live, you're up front. It is what it is. We can fluff up, we can make a mess, and people will go, oh, look, they're human. But it is about building that relationship, that know, like, and trust.
Oh, for sure. And, it's really taking a different route, taking the road less traveled, because I see so many people trying to do the same thing as everybody around them and then trying to compete with them. And the ones who are even doing great aren't doing anything worthwhile. It's not sustainable. It's not scalable. And here's the thing, to your point, and when people are in deep depression and having unbelievable anxiety, there's usually something behind it, right? It could have been a tragedy, an event, a mistake, whatever it was, it got them to there. So it's not a casual thing. But if you can know that there's a program like this, and hopefully this will be a network and not just an hourly thing, that anybody on LinkedIn can find support here who's going through something that lends itself to the condition. And it could be, what we talked about this week is what's going on in the employment roles, that all these high-tech people are getting let go, and low-tech people are being promoted because the balance has shifted so much. And what I tell everybody, no matter who signs your check, you're working for yourself. And if you don't start building an escape for yourself, knowing one day you're going to be out there, right? Or don't have a group for yourself. But right now, with 900 million people, and let's say naturally 1% gets terminated a year, okay, that's still 9 million. Where do they go for support? And some of the people they know the best are the worst people to give them advice, right? Friends and family, or people don't understand. Where if they can come to a place like this, and then we can be the place. I mean, I want this to duplicate through others. I want to be at the bottom all the time with everybody, not at the top. And eventually, I know so many people here are getting their own LinkedIn lives, and they should. It's their right. It goes with their voice. I mean, if someone says, would you like to have 10,000 people hear you or do a post where 10 people like and comment? Right? How much is that ever going to spread? And then, when you do this, you get better at it. And when you do it with someone else, you learn from them. And then when you do it with an audience, everybody learns together. And how much learning can you get in an hour? How many takeaways? And to the point of helping people, that's what we're hopefully doing. What do you think, Sarah?
Yes. Yeah. It comes back to support, doesn't it? We're here to support each other. Not just climb up the corporate ladder, and I left nursing because I didn't want to do that. That was part of the reason. I wanted to work for myself, but help support others. And once you climb the corporate ladder in a company, you tend to be removed from the people at the bottom. And for some people, they like that, they thrive on that. But for people like myself, I need to be at the bottom with those people who need the support so that I can reach out my hand and say, come on, let's do this together. You don't have to do it alone. Because I've been in that position. I've been in that lonely, alone position in a deep, dark depression that I became suicidal. And only one person reached out to me, and she took me to the gym every Wednesday. And I've been there, I've felt what that feels like, and it's not nice. So if we can help support each other, and I know that when you're in a dark position, you very rarely reach out to others. So if we can keep checking in on our friends and connections, like we were talking earlier, I've got several people around me who have recently become bereaved from family members. And I'm just sending them a little message every now and then, a little phone call, a little picture, a heart or something, just so that they know I'm thinking of them, just so that they know I'm there, I'm reaching out to them. We can do that to other people. They don't have to be bereaved. They don't have to be in a dark place. You can just reach out and say, hey, I woke up today, you're on my mind. I just want to reach out and say, hi, how are you? What's going on in your life? We can do that, and the power of the internet means we can get all over the world as long as people have got internet connection. But let's just reach out just for the sake of it, just because we want to, just because we can. We don't have to wait for something bad to happen. We can reach out any day, anytime. So just, T Connections, shoot off an email. Hi, how are you? I woke up today, you're in my thoughts. So it's a beautiful day. I wanted to share it with you. Just reach out to support people.
Well, I think that's so important. Victor says, great message to help family and friends who are suffering in a dark place. No matter how happy something is, it still takes effort, time, and work.
It does.
And, what I would suggest, and I do this, and, some of it's just a mind game, but it works, is I schedule happy things. I schedule a phone call with someone. Most people, their schedules, what do they need to do? What do they have to do? That dictates what they do, right? But what will feed their soul, what will help somebody else should take a front seat. And until you say, okay, I scheduled this 15 minutes. And I like to schedule celebration times,
Yeah.
right? And it could be as simple as a cookie. I mean, you make it the moment, right? I was saying the other day, I happened to look at a blueberry in my oatmeal, and I took 5 minutes to understand the journey it took to get here, right?
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful experience instead of gulping them down and taking things for granted. So here we go with Christine. I've had people ask me, why are you doing something for free? I just enjoy it, actually, so I still get something out of it. And sometimes people don't understand, since it's more about mental health and coaching, why a supply specialist would participate. And, that's so cool because it transcends the what do I do, who I was, where I am. I mean, all that stuff to we all have challenges. And if we don't have them now, we just come through them, or we're about to go through them again, and how do you go through it strong?
Yeah.
And how do you go through it when you come out the other end better for it? And if you have that vision that, in 10 days, this will be over, in 30 minutes, I could be doing something ridiculous that would take my mind off of this. And that would be worth embarrassing myself if that's what it would take, right? Being a clown for a day, it doesn't matter. Victor, it's great to see you here. Here we go. Yeah, awesome. I agree. Victoria's just kind of caught on. Victoria's another person, lovely person. What I want to advocate is we got so many beautiful, wonderful people in attendance.
Yeah.
You have to at least look at their profile, and not for them, but for you. And if there's something there that you see has value, reach out in a very respectful way, excuse me, and they'll share. So anyways, Victoria, I tagged, and it's been a while, and she's rediscovered. So when you plant seeds on LinkedIn, you don't know when they're going to grow, how they're going to grow. But if you keep coming back to them and nurturing them a little, they can grow. Andrea says, yes, we can easily help each other. I get messages from people praying for me now. How beautiful is this? Never met, yet ready to share love. And you know what it proves? That you are lovable, always have been lovable, and can be even more lovable, right? So most people get in depression because they loop into, I'm not worthy, I'm this, and pretty soon it builds. And when 10 people love you unconditionally and sincerely, even if they just like something quirky about you, you don't have to have the highest bar in the world to love someone. And Mario tells the story of when he went into the grocery store, and he's in Marseille, France, right? And he gave the guy a hug who was giving him a hard time. And it just surprised the guy so much that he found him in the store later and apologized for being how he was and thanked him. And most people would have run from some nervous, angry person. But then Mario's not somebody like that. Ambimbola, yesterday was awesome. Christine was really inspiring, bringing her first time as a co-host. And that's what we need, because I know a lot of people, and actually tomorrow is Roxanne Reed, who I know so well. And I've been trying to have her do a show, because I talk to all these people on Zoom. I know who they are. I know how they show up. And finally tomorrow she's going to do it, because Christine was intimidated and finally got on and then mentioned to Roxanne, you should do it.
Yeah.
And it's that peer support. And that's what's happening, is people are pairing off, right? Like Sarah and Andrea. I mean, I can just go through it, but that's the beautiful thing, is now instead of having a central, like, one ring circus, we got 4 or 5 rings with more specific activities. And people are trading and sharing and becoming partners with other people. So it's not only a new way of communicating, it's a new way of relationships, right? Where you can take and have whatever you need from one person to serve that and have another person to serve that. And now you're building a mosaic in your life instead of a dependency, right? You just change jewels out whenever you need to shine brighter. And if you visualize it like that, it becomes a game, it becomes fun, and you're always winning. I mean, wouldn't it be great when you create the life that no matter what you do, you're a winner and you can't believe it? When my kids were small, and my wife was always saying, no matter what they say, you say they're right. And I say, yeah, because I want to hear you're right. I don't care what they said. Because I'd have a question like, how many something is something? And they'd say 3. I'd be, you're right. And they would get so excited. They didn't even know the question or the answer, but just the right, because what I learned is by the time a child's 5, they hear 20,000 no's and 5,000 yeses.
Yeah.
Right? And if everybody said don't, you're like, don't touch the stove, Johnny, you'll get burned, versus thank you for not touching the stove, Johnny. It's the same action. It's just phrased in a different way. And I think that's what we could bring, is the unexpected, the surprising in a good way, the hug when someone thinks you're going to run, the helping hand where no one's been giving it. And meanwhile, you're sitting with 2 hands in your pocket half the time wondering what to do with them, and there's 2 people out there who can use them. So Victoria, my passion is helping people, and that's what this is about. And it has nothing to do with gender, it has nothing to do with background, it has nothing to do with anything. Are you a giving, loving person? And if you are, then you got to give love and be that person, but also be open to love from others. Right? How many times have we talked about people can't take a good compliment?
Yeah. Can I follow on from that, Don?
You bet.
I used to be one of those. I used to be a giver. All my life I've been a giver. And for much of my life, I couldn't be a taker. And I was embarrassed when people would give to me because I felt I had to be the giver. I know now it's a trauma response from something from a long time ago, but it took me a while to understand that. So as givers, we also need to accept that other people want to give too. It's not just about us, it's about other people. And we need to learn to take graciously when others are giving, because why should we, if we turn that around, why should we be the only ones that are allowed to do the giving? And when you look at it like that and turn it around, you need to be a taker to help other people to be the giver, because not everybody gives naturally. So if somebody's giving and it's difficult for them, if we can take graciously from them and accept whatever it is, it helps them to learn and grow as well. And it's not about being selfish. Well, I've given 6 times and they've given once, or they've given 6 times and now I need to give back more. Nobody's counting. And I've had a client who was very like that. Well, I'm not going to pay for that anymore because I've paid the last 4 times and she hasn't paid at all. If you're a giver, you give. But we also need to learn to take as well, because other people, we need to give them that experience of giving. Does that make sense?
A perfect sense. And what I was going to add to that is a lot of givers find more value in the giving. So when you're accepting it, you're giving them that opportunity to grow in their giving. Because have you ever heard someone got into deep trouble and maybe it was over small stuff and maybe it was a couple $1,000 and they did something desperate? And there's so many people would have said, if they would have just asked me and told me what they're going, I would have given them the money, right? I mean, your bank account is not what you see in your account, it's what your relationships are. And there's so many people who won't let you go down if it's something for them to correct easily. I once had someone do something for me that you wouldn't even believe it if I told you. And when we met on a Thursday, I got to his city on a Tuesday. And when I got to his office and he heard what I had, he gave me a legal pad and said, write everything out you need. and I'll either say yes or no. No negotiation, but don't leave anything out. And I put down some unbelievable terms. And he looked at it, he says, I'll do it. And I said to him, and this was like I say, a 96-hour, I just met you to this. And I said, tell me, why are you doing this? And he said, because I've been taken advantage of, and I've taken advantage of people. And I see where you're at. And at the end of the day, he said, I can. It doesn't matter, right? I can do it, and it doesn't matter as much to me as to you. But if I wouldn't have, again, initiated and had a plan and had a direction and can bring someone into it, and they say, well, it's a lot better ride to where I'm going. And plus, when you're with people, the fun of the journey is sharing the journey, not that, some people never even share the goal or the result. They find a way to get more than they should, let alone being happy, because then the goal is like, again, win and win some more. Start out a winner. Don't start from minus and try to get plus. What do you think, Sarah?
Absolutely. Yes. And I think more so when we've been in a position that other people are in, we can totally be compassionate and understanding because we've been there, we've felt it. It might not be identical, but we can come from a place of knowing. And that helps us to understand what that other person's going through. Whereas at other times we can have somebody come to us and we've never experienced what they're going through or what is going on in their lives. And all we can do is give them compassion and unconditional love, but from a place of not knowing. So we're supporting them to help them, but we need them to tell us what they need. We can give love, we can give time. Sometimes we can give money, but at the end of the day, unless they help us out and tell us what it is that they need, our resources are limited. But that said, love is always the answer to everything. If you can give love costs nothing. And like Dario was saying, it could just be a hug, or it could just be a message, or, reaching out to somebody just to ask how they are. There's so many little things that we can do that makes huge changes in people's lives to put smiles on their faces. It doesn't have to be big things. It's always the little things. And when I talk about gratitude with people, it's always the little things. Yes, we can say, thank you. Someone's bought me a car, or I've managed to buy a car, I've saved up and bought a car. Great. But every single day, what are you looking for? Like today, we've had blue sky and sunshine. The birds have been on the flowers. What is it that nourishes your soul? What small things are they that really fill your soul and nourish you? And it's that we need to be looking for more of.
Oh, I think for sure. And while you were talking, I was thinking, and that's so great about you talking, is that I just started to, fully appreciate that just a smile to somebody when you walk by them. I go out of my way to because it's good practice for me, because I don't have to think about when someone passes me, I say good morning, and I automatically smile for them. And I know even for a second, that was a positive influence for me. And plus I'm confident enough that I don't care what they do in return. Some people look at their shoes and walk by. Some people say hello. Some people might be a little nervous or confused why a stranger would be nice. I don't know. Christine makes a good point. I found Roxanne to Don's network. She is so awesome. We have so much in common. And that's the thing. Again, being part of the group instead of on top of the group. Everybody can look around them, across from them, and see that person who's already sharing themselves before you have to even invite them for a call, right? And if you see Sarah enough and you say, I really believe that she will take a call from someone in need or someone who just needs to talk, right? So now the responsibility comes back on yourself, is you can't blame the unknown or the stranger who makes themselves known and a friend. Now you got to get right with yourself. Is that, you've been saying it, are you willing to do it now it's available, or are you going to say something else? And that alone makes you, aware. And that's what people have to do, is be awake, be aware, be available, be now. The future will take care of itself, and the past is like unringing a bell, right? If you go back to it. So, Christine says, I was the opposite. I was a taker, a consumer, and by some grace of experience and redemption, I became a giver. That's so key. Redemption, reinvention. Anytime you put a re in front of something, it's like another time to do it again, right? And why not redo everything if you can? Because you can. That's the beauty of it. You can be anybody you want right now, who you always wanted to be, and you needed permission before, or money before, or acceptance. Graduate yourself. Give you everything that you wanted someone else to give you, and get complete real fast. And then start your journey. And if you don't know, make some friends and figure out where they're going. It doesn't matter who was the first one who came up with the idea. It's just going on the climb. And that's what I look at this as. It's a big climb. Andrea is so great when it comes to these insights. They need to commit, and they will find their love. It's such a beautiful place to be. And you know what's even as beautiful or more? Everybody here has been in their worst place at one time or another in their life, right? Everybody. So, and the question is, what helped you out? What skill sets did you learn? What mind games did you play, to get yourself moving? Well, that's, first of all, what people need to hear. How many times, if someone would have said, oh, Sarah, I hear you're having a hard time. Let me share everything I have that you don't have to go through. And by the way, let's get on the phone, or let's get in a group, or let's start a group. If someone now has a mission, I believe when you're into something bigger than yourself means so much less, right? You're so busy and you're active. And there's one thing towards running towards something you love versus running away from something you fear.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sarah?
Absolutely. And my husband's big onto that. He's always said, move towards something you want rather than running away from something that you don't want. And when you look at life like that, it changes your perspective. So what is it that you really want? Let's look at manifesting. Okay, so what is manifesting? It's manifesting is bringing something into your reality. And how do you do that? The first thing you have to do is look at what you don't want and identify what you don't want. Because when you're looking at bringing something in, you don't say, I don't want ill health. You're looking at, I want health. So identify everything that you don't want, and then put that to one side. And then once you've done that, you can then look at what you really do want. What are the positives? What do you want? And then think about it, sit with it, feel it, bring it from the future, bring it into the now, feel the emotions, visualize whatever it is that you want, use all your senses. And you can step into that vision. Maybe not tomorrow, but the more that you feel that whatever it is in the future with your emotions and keep bringing it into the now, you can manifest, you can bring that reality into your now. But you have to know exactly what it is that you want, and you have to feel it, really fully feel it with all your emotions and all your senses to bring it into your own reality. And that's how everything works, because at the end of the day, everything's energy. So if you look at your life and it's not where you want to be, go back and look where your thoughts have been over the past few months. And is your reality a reflection of your thoughts? Because quite often it is. So if we can think about what we want in the future, what's that vision? What is it that we want? And when I was in a bad place, all I wanted to find some peace and happiness and joy inside. So I I did some meditation work. I had to listen to guided meditations. I did some mindfulness. I was just in the moment and meditating on bringing some peace and calm and happiness into my life now, because I couldn't think about the future. All I could think about was what I don't want. Couldn't even think about what I did want other than a bit of peace. And then as time progressed and I started finding more peace, then I started looking at, what do I want in my future? And then I started meditating on that and becoming right in the now and practicing gratitude for what I did have, because I could always have less, but I could always have more. So it's about building those skills, being happy in the now, learning to love yourself for who you are and what you've got, rather than focusing on what you've not got, and looking at where you want to be in the future and bringing that reality into your now. And we can all do that. But as I say, to work out what it is that you want, you have to look at what you don't want, so that you are moving to your wants rather than running away from your don't wants. If that makes sense.
That makes absolute sense. And, I think another element there, people are at different stages of their life. People who used to enjoy something else.
Yeah.
And right. So to let someone else go, I mean, if someone says, there's a roller coaster ride, I would say, give it to the next person. Where when I was younger, I wait in line to get on something like that. And the same thing with helping people here is I've had enough of that. I've been, it's time for someone else to enjoy that. Right. So people can help people because of the stages they're in too. Some are in a needy stage. Some are in a generous stage. It's really matching up. And that's what LinkedIn and that's what this show can do is, I mean, what Sarah's doing today will have much stronger ramifications than anything else she could do in this hour on LinkedIn. Right. And while you're watching people, you're seeing people. And just what you said, the profound energy and depth of your commitment to what you were saying. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't meant to get anything. It was just you expressing yourself. And to your point, if you want to know yourself, start speaking.
Yeah.
Right? You'll start learning, because sometimes not sometimes, all the time, you hear what you say exactly at the same time everybody else hears it. Right? And you didn't know what it was. And I said, wow, did I say that? Or I can't believe that came out of my mouth. And everybody else feels the same way. And then what you do is you trust yourself. You don't have to rehearse. You don't have to practice. You don't have to judge. And if you start at the lowest common denominator, right, the barrier that says, I'm going to be happy so soon in this day. I took a week, because you got to do exercises. And I said, for this week, I'm going to see every day, how fast can I get as happy as I can, as early as I can? Because most people, they get happy at the end of the day. They're going to sleep now. How much fun is that going to be? And I said, and all you got to do is ask yourself, what would make you happy right now? Because I go back to when I was a kid, and if you were sad, your mother might say, hey, I've got some cookies, some milk, enjoy yourself. And all of a sudden life would get a lot better. And you forget the cookies and milk are still there, and you can serve yourself as you grow up, right? You don't need somebody else. And all of a sudden you say, I just did something I never would have thought of doing, having some cookies and milk today at 3, right? And all of a sudden you become your best company. When you truly love yourself, when you look in the mirror and you just see something you admire, people will feel that admiration for yourself to them, and then back to you, and then they'll mirror it. And that's the key. Show somebody what you want them to see. They'll see it. They'll become it. They'll share it, because there's too many people say the world is going this way or that way. The world doesn't decide. The people in the world decide. And if someone says, and I think it's so relevant now, we are so sick of hate. We are so sick of war, of tragedy, of all this stuff. We want it this way, you know? We want comedies. We want romance. That's what we want to create, you know, not this other stuff. And, you know, by getting a lifeboat like we're doing, instead of trying to turn the whole ship around, find all the people you love and care for and want to nurture and find an island, right? And this is what it could be. And there's plenty of islands, there's plenty of people. And that's why accessibility, matching people, but matching people through thought is so important. Jody, well, we'll go through this real quick. Thanks for all. Must board a flight. Well, at least you waited to the last minute. You were listening. Jody, I haven't met you. Perception with Trinity, awaken, seek to have understanding, connection with knowledge of the beginnings, middle, and end of what is from within your very own creation, from the words and way which you perceive. And just that's a lot of words. I got to give you credit for just coming on and sharing that much, because it shows you're capable from the get-go to share that much. And it also shows you're interested in helping people with what you're thinking. And knowledge share is so important. If you have 10 people who share their knowledge every week together, that's 9 times the experiences you could have ever had on your own. And now your experience got dividends because it got shared 9 times. So even if it was tragic, you helped a lot of people just by sharing it, right? Victoria says, variance of self-love, the hardest journey. But when you get there, it's the most gratifying because you control it, right? You don't have to earn it. You don't have to do anything to get it, you know, and then you can even, and you say, well, that's ridiculous. Well, it's ridiculous to say that's ridiculous, you know, at a certain point. So, you know, if it's fun, if it makes you feel better, it's worth doing.
Yeah. And it's a journey. Healing is a journey as well, Don. As Victoria said, it's for some people, self-love is the hardest journey. And I've been there when I was in that dark place. You know, I didn't love myself. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't eat, didn't drink, and really let myself go. But it's about learning that you are worthy, regardless of what people who are key people in your life when you were younger have said. You are worthy. Their opinions of other people are none of your business. They are their opinions, and everybody's got an opinion. When you come back to yourself and find that love for yourself, nurture it, because you are worthy. You're here. You are worthy of that love. And as soon as you start learning to love yourself, like Don said, that love will radiate out and it will be reflected in other people and back to you. So start, put your hand on your heart and breathe into it and just say, I am worthy. I love myself. Some people can't do that, but so just put your hands on your heart and just breathe into it and feel the warmth of your hands. You have a heartbeat, you're breathing, you are worthy, you're here for a reason. And sometimes we've just got to find that reason. But there is a reason that you're here. Whether it's for you to do something for somebody else or for you to learn something, you're here for a reason and you're worthy. But it's a journey and it's one worth taking.
I think that's so profound. And it is a journey, and you bought a ticket or were given a ticket. Right? You know, and everybody used to tell me, because I used to get into things that if I firmly believed in it, I couldn't be denied. And I'm not saying everything I accomplished justified the time or the resources, but when I believed, I wasn't going to be put off. And when you look at something and you know, people used to say, well, you got to get out of this. There's no upside. And, you know, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. I said, I don't see the light at the end. I don't even see the end, right? But I know one thing. I bought a ticket to the show. I'm going to see the end. I'm not going to be the end, right? If I'm the last one standing, well, I did it, you know? And what I learned, too, is there is no outcomes. There's only continuums, right? Everything continues. And if you look at it like, if you had a serious loss, and you look at, what am I supposed to learn from this? how much gratitude should I look back and enjoy what I had with this, right? Instead of, hey, it's not paying off anymore, or I'm not getting the value. You know, when people pass away, is your remorse out of like, I need them and I can't replace them? Or is it I cherish them and value all of what they gave to me? And I look at life as a relay race, right? When you're given the baton, you just run. You don't look back at the person who gave it to you and talk to them, and you don't worry about the people next to you. It's your race. You earned it. You should run it, and you should run it as hard as you can. Leave everything on the field, you know, and wherever you place is determined by who's determining your place, right? If you let the crowd tell you came in fifth, or you say I won 10 times over, and not for the reasons that that other person won. I wasn't the fastest, but I loved it more than they did. I look forward to it more than they did. Everybody, you know, I'd rather feel like a winner every day and one day got told I lost than feel like a loser every day and find out one day I won, because the next day you're back to playing again.
Yeah.
You know, I was at my grandson's basketball game and actually my granddaughter's basketball game this week. And both of them are okay. But I said, just be out there, run, have fun, talk to the kids, you know, and that's all. If you can do that, you're a winner, you know, and everybody celebrates everybody, even if it was a little thing, because people only know what you tell them. And really, you only tell them what you want them to know. You know, and that's so important. What do you think, Sarah? We're getting towards the hour, and these shows, they fly by. They're so stimulating and thought-provoking and heartfelt. And I think that's palatable.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about perception, Don, as you've said. You know, if you feel like a winner, you are a winner. If you feel like a loser, you are a loser. It's how you perceive it. So why not perceive it to the best of your ability? You can be anything you want, and you can just, it's a journey, but you have to take the steps towards where you want to be. And life is for learning. You know, we can't all wake up and be great at everything. So let's learn it. But, you know, celebrate the baby steps. You did more today than you did yesterday. You did better today than you did yesterday. You maybe didn't do as much today as you did yesterday. Well, that's okay, because, you know, at some point you need some downtime, some rest, to take some time out. But celebrate all the baby steps. But at the end of the day, it's how you perceive it. And you've always got a choice. So you can look at it as something that you've done well. Look at it as something that you need to take some downtime from. You need some self-care, of which is still a plus point. But it's always, what choice have you got? And if you can choose happy, choose happy. If you can perceive that you're the winner, you're the winner. You're in charge all the time. It starts and it ends with you. So make those choices. Be who you want to be. You know, just whoever you are now. If that's who you want to be, then great. But if that's not who you want to be somebody different with different skills, then start making baby steps towards it. You can't get to where you want to be without taking action. And some of those steps might be difficult. But when you look back at all those little baby steps that you've taken towards that goal, you've moved mountains, you've walked miles. But you have to take action. You have to start taking those baby steps. And as I said, the choice is yours. Choose to wake up and be happy on purpose, or choose to wake up and be sad. There is always a choice.
Yeah, and that's really very important. If you listen and apply that to any part of your day, it'll compare better than what would have been there before that. And that's the thing, is how do you optimize? How do you redirect action, attention, people? And a lot of times the reason you're not getting the response you deserve or want is because of the crowd you're playing to or the arena you're in.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a jazz singer, you don't want to be on a heavy metal group, right? Because you're never going to be appreciated, you're never going to fit in. But people don't looked that way as where could they go, not to how they deal with where they are. And I think that's so essential is, that's why moving around, that's why taking action, more importantly, anything, you're alive today. You're alive right now. Og Mondino, a great personal development guy, an old timer, said, if you ever question your value, who in the obituaries yesterday wouldn't trade places with you, right? Yeah. And whatever you do, it's free. It's a free ride then, right? Before you jump off a cliff and you got 10 grand in the bank, go to Hawaii with it and then think about it after 10 days, right? Because you can always, where's the fire? What are you going to miss out on? And when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you tend to do something about it. So that's a signal. It's like an alarm clock says, well, why don't I do the opposite today, right? Everything I'm doing isn't working. And try it, because you can always take yesterday back to tomorrow, right? You're not burning bridges. You're just changing directions maybe. And that's all it takes. Honestly, one person, one word, one smile could change the whole game for you if it comes at the right time through the right network. And hopefully, if you just do what we did today, and like I say, co-hosting is like co-coaching, right? So whatever me and Sarah talked about, it was just me and her. I gained so much from it. And I gave so much to it that you actually exchange things. I was lady was on the show, Rhonda Shear, this week, and she said she had an 87-year-old friend who was really very lively and full of life, and she decided she wanted to kind of minimize her closet, right? So she asked 3 or 4 girlfriends over to bring all their stuff that they really weren't going to wear or need anymore. And the idea, everybody could pick from everybody else's. At the end, everything would go to the homeless shelter, to help women. And these were really, cool outfits. And it was just one person who decided to bring 3, 4 people together with things that they really loved but couldn't or didn't want to use anymore. And then share with naturally their family and friends, and then say, hey, look at all the good we can do, right? And by doing that, I heard the story. I'm telling the story now. Hundreds of more people will hear the story. And that's how a little, snowball going up a hill takes forever, but on the way down, you can't stop it. Yeah. Right? You want something to perpetuate organically itself. And eventually, all that matters is the message, not the person who was the first to put it out there. But I can't be what I am. I couldn't have been. I'm in a place now I never, ever thought I'd be again. This is like a third wave. There's times in your life you think, well, I had a couple good runs and, rode some pretty fantastic waves. And you know what it is to be at the, like in the Titanic, standing on the front of the ship, and then it comes back to you. And you think all of this time, any doubt, and most people will try to put you in the position you don't want to be. Like, you've done so much, you don't need to do any more, and you don't have to show anything. But that's not living for yourself. And because of technology, where you don't have to go on a plane 3 days a week or have to drive to an office every day, it really levels the playing field for people who don't have the energy, the health, or the mobility to get back in the game and now play the new game that the entitled people now are going to have a hard time dealing with. Not the oppressed people, the people who've been minimized. It's so great to dream again. And I hope everybody has that opportunity, is to look at their future and say, wow, I am so lucky. And the beauty of it is, it's because it's not me. It's because I found a group that will have me and will allow me to be halved to them. And that's why I said this week I'm learning is someone just needs 10%, then do the 90 and give them the 10, right? And if you only need 10, just take only the 10 and leave the 90. But so many people say, well, 50-50, Or, hey, if I can get even an advantage, I don't know why someone would even want to think that way. Like I can get 48 to them and 52 to me. And that's what happens. And at the same time, that's our opportunity, is be the one who gives more, expects less, is happy with everything. You know, I always say I'm happy with everything, but I'm never satisfied. You know, so if all I got is all I got, I'm happy. But hey, if I can do more, be more. And last thing before we sign off, and I'll give you a chance to say goodbye, is I'd rather wear out than rust out. You know, I'd rather be in the game than watching the game. And if you can even get more people in the game, because that's where you live on, right? You build a relationship with somebody and you never know where it's going to go, but it's probably there because of you. So last word, Sarah. Yes, Sarah, the conversation with ourselves is so important. Yes, choice is key to our journey and its direction and the results towards what we want in life. Choice to just try. Sarah Dawkins with hearts. I'll address that and you can address that. What's so cool is myself and Sarah especially are getting such direct feedback, right? Sometimes you write a book and a lot of people read it, you never really get a chance to talk to them about it. You know, to hear exactly the parts or the situations they really love. But on this show, you say something, you get something. You know, it's like a slot machine that always pays off. And Andrea says, thanks all. Have a nice Sunday. Well, it's already starting out great for me, and I hope everybody else who was on this show. And you know, if you really got a lot out of it, share it with people you think could benefit from it too. Right? This should not be the best kept secret or the witness protection plan. So, Sarah, why don't you say your words?
Oh, it's been fabulous to be on with you, Don, and with everybody else. And the comments are fabulous. And like you say, when you're live on air, you're interacting with people in real time. So you can take questions, you can say things, you can pick up on things, and we can just give, and then we can give some more. So it gives us the chance to serve, and be the giver, and for the audience to be the takers of the message, but also then to give back other messages for us to then take and open that up, and in that way everybody is helping everybody. It's not just about myself and yourself, it's about everybody else that's joining us. It's one big community all sharing ideas. We just happen to be on the screen at this time.
Yeah, that is so absolutely true. It's so great to even see changes by the week in the audience, see changes by the week with the co-host, and me to see changes by the day, because I mean, this is 200 straight days of LinkedIn Live with so many wonderful people. And this has also given me an opportunity to meet people again and bring people on, because the challenge with connections, okay, we know each other, we like each other, we identify with each other, but there's nothing we're doing right now.
Yeah.
That we can combine with. But if it's like, hey, I got a show up if you want, you know, and now they're getting your audience, and it shows you that they'll give you their audience. And I was talking to somebody about cross-pollinating, but anyways, with this, we got another comment. Usually I'm very respectful top of the hour, but it is Sunday. Yes, enjoy your day. Thank you, Don Cohen, Sarah. Looking forward to more chances to help people. Well, hopefully we encourage people to do more to help people. That in itself has been huge, you know. And what I'm seeing and hearing from so many people is that they get so much from the joy that they provide from the people they provide it to, you know. And that's where one way of saying they're worthy. That's one way of saying I brought value to someone else. So it wasn't just, you know, self-promotion or me. And, you know, at times I liked it more than when I got it, right? If you've had something 100 times, like an ice cream, and no one had it once, the joy in their face of just the curiosity, how they're going to respond, you know, is more important than that ice cream flavor. So we're back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Roxanne. Tuesday is Omar. He's a great guy. He's self-funding an education for the world kind of program. He uses his full-time job to support it, and he brings kids on, got a Jeopardy show that he has prizes for how to learn. Great guy. I can go on, but I know you got a busy day, everyone. And I want to just thank everybody for the 13th time for being here. And I'll look forward to seeing you back. And thank you so much, Sarah. With that said, bye for now.
Bye, and thank you, Don and everybody.
Well, you bet. And your smile and pigtails